Cal will be fun. They're always
Yeah.
super fast, so that's always a good prep before conference. And then I think with conference, it's so different every year. So,
Yeah.
I mean, especially this year with it being combined, which I think we're really excited about, feeding off of the men's energy and like being able to support them there.
All right, welcome to this episode of Social Kick. We got a partial crew once again. Brian's still under the weather. Feel better be. I'm John Mullen here with Luke Paddington, and we're here with some Stanford women's swimming standouts. Let's see if I can get it right. Aurora Roghair and Charlotte Hook. How are you two doing?
We're great. Thank you for having us. We're really excited.
There you go. Aurora's just gonna answer for you. How's that sound, Charlotte? No, I'm just kidding. So we always start with some audience questions. So we asked our audience at Social Kick Swim on Instagram and YouTube for some good questions here. And one for Aurora is from someone you probably see a lot, maybe too much, you would say sometimes. Mr. Greg Meehan, your head coach, wants to know who's better, Chiefs or Eagles? Never mind, we know it's the Eagles.
Oh no. No, it's fun. We're excited. One game away. Well, each one win away from a potential Super Bowl matchup again. So
Yeah.
we're excited.
So what's up with that? How are you at Kansas City? Just Iowa, no other teams there, so you got to root for them, or are you a Swiftie?
Well, I guess both. There's no pro teams in Iowa, so everyone kind of chooses because we're kind of equidistant from the main pro teams. But my sister lives out in Kansas City now, so it's fun to go and cheer for them there. But my grandpa will say he claimed the Chiefs first back
Oh,
in the day. So
there you go. Yeah, my 5-year-old niece, she is also a fan of Taylor Swift's boyfriend's team, as she calls it. So
oh
there
yeah.
are a lot of those people.
It was fun seeing Caitlin Clark and Taylor Swift in the booth together. I was like, my worlds are colliding.
Oh yeah, I know. I was like, whoa, man, Caitlin, she's just rising stock continues, huh?
Yeah.
All right, Charlotte, we're gonna give you a little harder one. Can you
Okay.
name 8 teams in the ACC? Because that is the conference Stanford is now in, the Atlantic Coast Conference, because that makes the most sense. So can we name eight schools? We'll say.
Okay, let's see. I can get the North Carolina one. It's pretty easy. There's UNC, Duke, NC State, and then UVA, Virginia Tech. Um, I guess can I say us and Cal now?
Sure, I
Yeah.
guess those are the layups, right? Stanford.
Yes. And then wait,
Phone a friend. Phone
is
a friend.
is Louisville in the ACC? No.
Louisville, Aurora. What do you think?
I thought they were.
Ding, ding, ding! They are. We
Okay, I
got.
got
Hey, good
it.
job.
Perfect.
We'll do one more on the ACC. So Aurora is Boston College in the ACC.
Boston College. Yes.
Man,
Oh, yeah.
good. Not with confidence, but you got it. Good job. All right, this one will be for both of you. So this one is from H. Andrews 973. Wants to know your favorite season of the year. So fall, spring, summer, those
Oh,
harsh winters in Palo Alto.
I think I have to go fall. I would say. Yeah,
Okay.
just like the weather, like it's not I don't really like super hot weather and like being from North Carolina, like spring, summer, it's like so humid. So, and then winter's like kind of it's kind of too cold, like things are dead, but like fall, like the leaves are changing, holidays are coming up, like it's getting cooler. Yeah, definitely fall for me.
Nice. Aurora?
I think I would go spring. I mean, being from Iowa, like it's usually pretty cold still in the spring, but you start to see like the glimmer of the warmer weather. And then here the spring's perfect. So I'd probably go spring.
All right, here's a question. How long is spring in Iowa? If you had to put a length time, how long is it every year?
Oh,
7
feel
days
like
or
yeah, it's only a couple weeks. It's like snowing in March and stuff. So we only get like a few weeks of the nice 70-degree weather, and then it's like 110 degrees. So
All right,
yeah.
so let's talk about winter training in Palo Alto. So I've swum a lot in California. 15 years I was drawn. And are you complaining if there's ice on your kickboard at 5 a.m. in January? Because sometimes it happens.
It does happen. I mean, coming out to
does.
California in the Bay Area, I was like, all
Yeah.
right, these kids are tougher than I dreamed or thought of growing up in Ohio, where it's like, you two aren't from California, so you probably agree. It's like California, it's like Hollywood. It's the beach. It's warm. There's
Yeah,
some 30-degree mornings.
I was
Mm.
definitely surprised. Like, I think the worst part, honestly, is the bike ride from like your
Uh-huh.
dorm to the pool in the morning. Cause you just like, you leave the warmth of your bed at like 5:45 in the morning. It's like, wow, it's so cold. Um, and then yeah, the deck gets so
Yes.
cold that like we'll be standing on like on our kickboards, like to keep our feet warm before diving in. But
Well, what's your routine? Because I had a routine when I left the locker room. I had exactly what I would wear and take off, and the last thing would be take off my shoes and then dive in. Like I would put goggles on and suit and parker off. What's your routine right before to maintain heat? Any of you?
um, so I think Rose a little bit different than me.
Mhm.
I like to go in the hot tub before
Oof.
practice. So no, I know, and I wouldn't have
No.
thought that that would be a routine that I like, but there were a couple other girls who started doing it, and one morning I was like, oh, like I guess, and if you time it right and you get about like 10 minutes to like 12 minutes of like sitting in the hot tub and like you eat like a protein bar or something, you'll get like just hot enough that like you're kind of ready to get out. And then the pool is not so bad. So it's like you're warmed up and then you dive in the pool. And like I kind of like that. Other people will just like do the get ready in the locker room and like run out and dive in type of
Yeah,
thing. But yeah, hot tub. It's kind of sneaky good.
it is. Aurora, what's so Stanford pools are my favorite pools. Not many pool places have four long course pools, a short course, and a
Mhm.
diving well right next to each other. They're fantastic. But do you have a favorite? Which one of the four pools do you enjoy training in?
I would say I have a favorite. We don't train in Avery much, but that's where we
Okay,
like have our dual meets.
yeah.
So I would probably say Avery is my favorite pool just because it feels super special and like that's reserved for when we're racing hard. And then we get to like watch synchro and water polo and all of those championships in that pool. So that's probably my favorite pool, but my favorite pool to train in is probably Baker because I feel like we use that one the most.
Yeah. Same Charlotte. Do you have a difference?
Um, yeah, I would agree. Like Avery's pretty special just because like usually the only time we're in there it's like racing. So that's definitely cool and like the way the stands are set up, like it's definitely a unique environment. I would have to go with Row. I think between like the two that we're typically always in, I would have to say Baker.
Yeah.
Um, particularly the sunny side.
Right.
There's kind of a little like competition between us and the men, like on which afternoons we get like the sunny side of the pool versus like the deeper, shadier side. We like take turns, but yes.
Do you guys ever go in a diving tank and to do any sets? If so, what kind of sets you may do in a diving tank?
Come on, they're not sprinters.
No, but they may do underwaters or they may do I don't know. I mean, yeah.
Sharky actually does some underwater work, but I don't think we ever train in there. We've gone off like the diving boards before, and we had like one day, I think it was last year, maybe in the fall, we did like went water Olympics. And so we were like diving off the diving boards and stuff, but I don't know if we've ever like had a training practice in there.
Yeah. Not since I've been here have we ever done any kind of swim set, but
Oh, you got to tell us more about this Olympics. Summer's going off the diving board. I mean, that sounds. I had my college roommate. He was probably the best swimmer on our team, and he did a flip off the 1 meter and kneed himself in the chin and had to have a
Oh,
bunch of stitches across his
oh.
chin. So I know swimmers Swimming and diving confuses people, but there's a big distinction. So what else was involved in this Olympics?
We
Um,
did water polo,
Oh
and then
God, Ray's asking
yeah,
for it. Jeez,
it
God.
was like there were teams. For like I guess yeah, the point was like team camaraderie stuff. But so we did some stuff on land, which was also equally kind of not as pretty being swimmers. Um, but yeah, then there was water polo, diving, which was kind of unfair because some of the teams had some of our divers on them.
Oh,
So
yeah.
cheat code.
so they had a bit of a leg up there. Yeah, what
We did
else,
like a
bro?
belly flop competition, maybe cannonball. I think
Oh,
we might have had a
synchro.
relay.
We did a synchro
Yes.
routine, which was
That one was actually
interesting.
kind of good.
Sounds
I
fun.
was gonna say, I Stanford always seems like a very close knit team. You guys are always very proud to wear your tree on your side, on your chest, and do your chants. You're the history and the legends that went through those pools obviously is big reason of it. And anybody who's been to Stanford campus, I wish more universities did this. But I love the plaques that you guys have are outside the pool with, these are the world record holders, these are the NCAA champions, this is stuff. It really honors your past, but it makes you feel like you're part of something a lot bigger than the big team. Your coach was on recently, and he said that, John, is this correct? Stanford is the only team to finish top 10 in every single NCAA championships. That's
Yeah, mind
incredible.
blowing. Jeez.
That's and going back, right? So we can talk about the Jenny Thompsons and the Summer Sanders and stuff, but you got to talk about that, right? That history. How's this season going, and where are you guys feeling right now? Where you are? You just came off a bunch of duels. You've got what, 6 weeks to go? Is it 6 weeks, maybe or so? Like how are we
Mhm.
feeling? You know?
I think, yeah, it's something that we've always taken such pride in, and like how we have such a surreal legacy, and like, yeah, walking on deck through the flags and seeing all of the Olympians that have come before us, and their pictures are in like our locker rooms and our fueling station. So I think it's really inspiring, and we really emphasize like the notion that we're all part of something bigger than ourselves. And I think that makes swimming a lot more meaningful. And you're like not just swimming for yourself, but you're swimming for everyone on your team now, in the past, and in the future. So we're really excited. I think we're in a really good spot. We had a lot of like talented freshmen coming in, and then obviously we have Tori back and Maria on the diving side. So we're looking good.
Speaking of Tori, we got to talk about her 200 breast. What do you guys think about that 200 breast of the dual meet? What was she, 208?
Something fast. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, hey, we can throw shade. I mean,
Underwater, dude.
non breaststroker here. I can kind of joke about it, but I mean, yeah, she's going pretty quick still, though.
Fly kick. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
Narrow kicks.
Yeah, you're like, come on, Tori. You can't take another event. Jeez.
Yeah, she's good at them all.
Yeah,
No off
yeah.
events, truly.
Charlotte, update on you. What's going on with your season personally?
Um, yeah, so actually I made the decision like probably like a week ago that I've been dealing with some kind of like injuries that just haven't really been going away, and the training hasn't really been progressing like to where I want it to be. So I'm actually not going to be competing this season.
Yeah,
Just like focus on getting healthy and
nice.
obviously like rooting for these guys. It was yeah, so it was really cool to be like down on deck and just see them like all race so fast this past weekend. Like I'm super excited for everything that they're going to accomplish at the end of the season. But yeah, personally just trying to get healthy and see where we can be next season.
That's a very brave and difficult decision to make, but I think it's good for you on that. Or what are you gonna what are you doing then for your recovery? What are you doing for your recovery? Yeah, what kind of stuff you doing?
Yeah, um just like taking some time out of the pool,
Mm,
doing like a lot of PT,
yeah,
rehab, strength stuff like that. Yeah, and like trying to remain somewhat active. Like I'm walking to my classes now instead of like riding my e-bike, with a little more time in my schedule to do that. But yeah, mostly just like rehab type stuff.
Yeah, I think anyone that's was fortunate to be a college swimmer knows that this is part of a lot of athletes' journeys. Sometimes it results in a whole season, sometimes it's just a week or two. So how do you feel like your role has kind of changed and how it might be evolving here for the rest of the season just to still be a positive integral part of the team while not competing like you were previously?
Yeah, I would say just like still, you know, being like a part of the team, like I still show up to practices and will like sit and watch and fill water bottles or like get times if people need
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Just like joke around with people, just kind of like be everything that they might need like outside of the water. And like yeah, and just like do my best to support them in everything that they're doing in the pool.
Yeah, it's always, you think of a college team and obviously you think of, the teammates in the pool and the head coach, but there's always so many more people involved in the process, right? Sometimes you have grad assistants, sometimes you have managers on the team, you have strength coach, PTs and all this. So I think, like you said, just being on deck and, sometimes the athletes or these other people know how to tell the swimmers what they need to hear at the right time. Whether it's like, oh, Aurora's having a bad set, I need to go make her laugh, or I need to go say something like this and things like that. So, like Luke said, it's not an easy decision. We can only imagine, but a lot of times it's still a vital role of the team.
Aurora, would you agree? Having her on deck and having her experience, and I mean, you got a world class swimmer right there on deck with you still, who's made a brave decision to focus on the long term. And you got LA. It's a perfect time to do what you're doing and get stronger. What's it like having her around?
Yeah, I think her contributions on this team extend so far beyond the pool. So like she said, she shows up every day, always with a smile on her face. I can finish a practice and we both took sign language here, so she'll like sign me something and it just makes practice so much more fun. They were at the meet like doing everything, probably running around more exhausting than it was for me, where they were like helping me get everything, fueling, doing the underwater cameras, like
Yeah.
she's all over on top of everything, and I mean, she means so much to this team. We were swim sisters her freshman year, my sophomore year, so
Wow.
I've always felt so supported by Charlotte, and she keeps going.
It's awesome.
So has she been signing you like NCAA champion, 429, things like that at you, or what type of stuff is she signing to you to get you to relax?
She just knows the perfect things to say when I'm in the middle of a set, and it's just something so silly, and I'm like, "Yep, like, we're good." You can just feel the love coming.
We just spoke to the Tennessee boys relay team, right? The four of them, and there was a private chat which we have right now ourselves. And during the conversation, one of the guys wrote glaze. And we were like, and they had to explain glaze to these old people afterwards. But it was their insider way of like, we had it when I was training, it was a lot ruder than that. But yeah, is there a motivational term? Is there something you guys use when you're training to like, anything you guys would have? Anything?
I don't know if
No?
there's a specific like,
I
I mean,
mean,
you're on the wall and everyone's saying like "go card," like usually
okay.
every other effort or whatever, but people use glaze on our team. I don't think they use it as motivation, more to like make fun of people when they're complimenting each
Yeah,
other,
exactly.
but
Just razzing each other.
yeah.
Yeah, the only thing that's coming to my head right now is lately, and it's mostly the men's team, but we'll train at the same time. But they've been really liking boom.
Boom.
It was like I'm pretty sure it's like a TikTok related thing.
Yeah.
But they'll like boom at each other and then it's kind of started to creep in a little bit to our sets sometimes. So that's the most recent one I can think of.
Well, Aurora, at the Texas Invite, you had a great meet. looked like some best times there. And we recently talked with Jillian Cox, and she was talking about those races, and she had some great swims as well. And she's like,
Mhm.
I knew I had Aurora there, and she was going to be coming after me. So talk us through, I guess, how you tackle some of your distance events. I think you're notorious for back half in or being home nice and strong. So talk us more about that style of training in swimming.
Yeah, I think it's taken a while for me to get, like, confident in myself enough and, like, trusting the process and my race plan, but once and I'm still working through that, but once I've been able to do that, I think I've gotten a lot better because we found what works best for me, like, me and the coaches. So, yeah, I like to approach the races where kind of break it up into chunks, and then I try to descend stuff, feel pretty good about that, but yeah, Jillian pushed me to have some of my best races. I mean, I've known her for a while. I don't know if she told you, but we got stuck, at Denver, I think, trying to get to a training camp in Colorado Springs, so we had a lot of time there and then seeing each other at all these meets, so it's always fun racing her. She pushes me. We definitely take kind of different approaches and strategies to our races, but
Yeah.
it's always fun swimming right next to her.
Does it bother you? Or you do swim in your lane? Does it bother you how others are swimming their races? You see somebody going out, mad. Does it affect you at all?
No, it doesn't bother me at all. I think sometimes I get a little antsy and I'm like, "Oh, I wanna, like, try to keep a little bit less of a distance," or I get a little
Yeah.
worried, that not going I'm not sticking to my plan well enough if I'm trying to focus on other people, so I think putting the blinders on is important, looking at the coaches. I like to get signals from the coaches and, like, the counters, so I think relying on that and not worrying so much about what other people are doing has been helpful, and then, yeah, hopefully just try to back half it, I guess.
Yeah, not letting other things affect you and focusing on what you do is something I suspect both you guys have learned from your Olympic trials experience. Narrowly, both of you narrowly missing the team. Charlotte agonizing, right? Back then. But I'm sure that was you've picked up from that and you've learned how to train, how to act, and how to be since those finishes. How has that affected your training, Charlotte? I'll start with you and then Aurora. Your training, your outlook on the sport in general.
Um, yeah, I would say honestly, in 2021, it was kind of interesting. I was having like mixed emotions about the sport in general. So I would say I was upset about that race for probably a multitude of reasons. Obviously, like narrowly missing, like coming third is difficult for anyone. But also like it wasn't one of my best swims. Like I knew it wasn't the best that I was capable of. I think if it had been like a best time or a race that I was like really proud of, I would have been like easier to come to terms with, I guess. Probably just being like, oh, it was still like a good swim that I'm proud of. But at the time it was kind of like none of the above. So um that was tough, like coming to terms with it. But yeah, I would say just like honestly this past trials was kind of a really like eye-opening experience, just like being in a lot different position, being there like with Stanford this time was a big difference as opposed to like being in the club. You're kind of
Mhm.
more like on your own versus like the team feel. Um, and especially like this team, like just like the support that I get from like these women is like amazing. Like it's just so fun to be anywhere with them. And and also like having been dealing with kind of injuries going into trials last year, there wasn't really like a huge expectation. I just wanted to see like
Yeah.
what I would be able to accomplish given how things had been going. Um, so I was really proud of the performance that I put out this past trials, and like where I finished. But yeah, and then it just kind of was like a eye-opening experience being like, I really love this sport. Like I'm so excited to just
Oh,
like be healthy and like be back and just like see like what I can do. I think always for me it's been more about like trying to be the best that I know that I'm capable of and like the best that I can be. So just like man, like I just want to go best time like so bad like about like all the other stuff and like where you like finish and I just kind of feel like that comes with the territory, but like just trying to accomplish like what I know I'm capable of is like that's where my head is at every day. And yeah, like I just know like with this team and these people like I'm in the best place possible. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, swimming is such a tough sport in that regard. I remember when I was in college, I think I went 3 or 4 years without going to best time. And you just like you said, it's just like, God, I would just want to go best time. Just I want to do it again, right? It just like leaves you so hungry, and it's such a good feeling where, yeah, there's a lot of other accomplishments out there, but just going a best time is so rewarding. And like you said, when you're dealing with injuries, and when I'm working with athletes with injuries, a lot of times it leaves you in a tough spot because you're going to these meets and you want to frame it positively, right? It's like, hey, that was a good swim considering I'm training at 50% of what I think I can. So it's kind of like, hey, it's a free swim because I know I'm not doing everything. But sometimes that can also maybe, I think lower expectations and kind of give you not maybe like a way out, but it kind of, you know, what am I trying to say here? It just like lowers expectations a little. So I guess how have you been trying to balance that component as you were swimming through, like you said, I think injuries through 2023, and it sounds like leading to trials, they were still pretty problematic.
Mhm. Um yeah, I would say honestly in a weird way, it almost kind of helped me because I think I'm a person that like I had a bit of a period of time where I was putting so many expectations on myself that it was kind of crippling, like negatively impacting
Hmm.
my racing. And so it was kind of a bit of like a weight off, the kind of like there's no expectation in a way. Um, definitely not being like, oh, there's no expectation, so like what's the point kind of way, but framing it in like a let's just see like what can happen. Like I'm still like last season I still got like a decent way through the season, like through our training camp in December being relatively like injury free, almost kind of at 100%, before things kind of started unraveling. So I was just kind of frame it in a way like I had it like a pretty good base, like I was still in the
Yeah.
water and like let's just see type of thing. So I think it was kind of almost freeing in a way. Um and yeah, trying to when I am healthy kind of frame it in that way as well. Like, there are no real expectations.
Yeah.
Like let's just see like
Yeah.
what can
Let it
happen.
rip.
Yeah. Exactly.
Aurora, I want to turn to you and your trials experience. First of all, how many meters did you swim at trials? It's crazy. How many
more than
meters you
more
swam?
than Luke swam in what, 2 years or 3 years,
So,
Luke?
more than I want ever swim in 2 years. So I mean, those who are listening, and correct me if we're wrong. Fourth in the 800, so finals there. Fifth in the 400 mile, right? Amazing. And then
Mhm.
and 11th to 200. Just off making the finals. If you had done your prelims time, maybe you were snuck in, but you did a best
Mhm.
time in every single event. You juggled all those events over 8 days. That's remarkable. Talk us through about trials for you.
Yeah, I think it was definitely very daunting and kind of overwhelming to think going into the meet if it did end up going how I was hoping it would, how, like, that plan would lay out.
Yeah.
Um, but I think what I learned the most from trials and even the couple meets leading up to trials was that I, like, wasn't doing it alone and I could ask
Mm,
for help, like, talking to my teammates, talking to people who've done it before,
mm,
talking to the coaches, and, like, getting help when I needed it was a big thing for me, not
mm,
only to realize, but to, like, see how beneficial that was for me,
yeah,
because I think I can get we all can get ourselves like, we can be the biggest obstacles to ourselves, and we can get in our own way. And I think it was a big mental battle, especially thinking about how many yards or meters you would have to do. But obviously praying that you would also get the opportunity to do that because then you're having a pretty good meet. But yeah, I think leading up to trials, we were fortunate enough. Our coaches set up meetings with other swimmers who have already done it. So we got to get advice from people who've walked the walk. And that was really helpful because, I mean, they have the experience, they are successful, and they kind of broke down what they did. And I think I took some of that. I would like plan out my days. And then I got to see my family, which was really nice. And I feel like they helped ground me a little and were refreshing to see between sessions and get a meal with. So I had an amazing time at trials. I think it was so fun to see not only like have the success that I had, but also to see some of my friends make the team and like accomplish their own goals. So nice.
Yeah, I mean that it's super important, and I want you to talk about how that's helped your racing now because you go to trials, you're doing some best times, and then Tori makes a team in a fly. The people who do your programs, who you train with day in day out, you know what they do. It's very much like what you do. They're succeeding. Your program's working. Tori has an okay meet in Paris. We won't talk about that. But then we come on, and your teammates continue to do well, including like Caroline just a couple of days ago. Your teammates are proving themselves and the program is working. How is that lifting you and giving you even more confidence in what you're doing? Hey, I'm doing the right thing. I trust and believe what we're doing.
Yeah, we're building all the momentum, and I think we really feed off of each other's energies, and it like it's so exciting when you watch someone swim a really fast race, and it just fires you up almost, and you're like, "Yeah, like, they're killing it," and, yeah, when you train next to the, like, elite level training groups, and we take a lot of pride in our groups and, like, being able to see everyone else succeed in the way that you know that it kind of reflect your own success. So, I think every time I see you guys swim well, I'm always like, "Oh my god," I'm, like, so happy for you, and I feel like I get more excited watching other people than I do when I'm like, "Oh, like, I had a good race, but, like, Charlotte just had an amazing swim," and so it's so fun, and I think it all builds on each other.
And I'm sure it goes both ways. When you're swimming well and putting up good times, it motivates everyone else at meets, but also in practice. And Stanford, obviously, such a storied distance swimming history with Janet Evans and obviously Ledecky. I guess what sets have you been doing, or any sets come to mind that you've really been doing well on, and you're like, oh, this is better than I was last year, or this is a good stepping stone or kind of benchmark where I know things are still moving in the right direction.
Yeah, you Charlotte might laugh at me because I talk a lot to the other distance crew, and they're always like, "Do you remember this set that we did?" And I'm like, "Not really. I think I finished a set and I kind of try to black it out." But yeah, um,
It's good for
no,
distance. You don't want to remember those sets, I don't
right,
think.
yeah, I know. I'm like, darn, I do wish I remembered what you're talking about, but maybe I don't because I don't know if I want to remember that pain. But yeah, I think that's something that Greg's been really helpful for me about is I tend to get in my head a lot and he's good at reminding me like how far I've come, not only from last year, but from freshman year. And so you gotta kind of remember that when you're taking a practice into consideration and like put it in the context of your training week and everything. But yeah, I think I'm training every year. I've gotten a lot better at training, kind of building off the foundations from the previous years. And coming in from club, I didn't really train super intense distance sets all the time. So that was a big adjustment. So I think since then, um, some of the worst distance sets, I don't know. Probably, I think the like shorter rest distance is the hardest sets that we do. So it's like 400s on like minute base plus 5 or whatever. I think those are probably the worst. The longer swims, I can kind of tune out or like get lost and dissociate a little bit, but yeah.
The
We,
set
we,
you did, what I don't was it last Friday? It was like 6 rounds of a 300, a
Yeah,
200, a 100. That was a pretty gnarly one, and Ro, like, kills it every time. It's amazing to watch, but that was a pretty nasty set.
that one was pretty brutal. It ended with like a broken 1800 and we were trying to see how fast we could go. So,
Yeah, talking about improvement, I mean, I think Stanford posted something recently, and it's, I think a lot of colleges are doing this. It's always great to see where it's like, oh, what they went when they came into school and where they're at now. And I think that mile was pretty close to a minute drop. So yeah, I think things
yeah.
are moving in the right direction. Not many can say, oh yeah, I dropped a minute in college in an event.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm creeping up, I think, on that minute mark. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm so thankful for everything from my club experiences in high school. So thankful for all that they've helped me with, and then excited that it's continuing on.
We asked all our athletes, we're gonna ask you what's the hardest, event to swim, and we asked them what's the hardest set. And the sprinters say 450s on 2 minutes all out is the hardest set. The milers go, QB cost goes or whatever it is, and there's always a debate. But between the two of you, who's tougher, the miler or the two flyer?
Oh no.
I would have to go with the miler. Honestly, like, I mean, having done like 1 mile in my life, I think I got to the 1,000 mark and then was like, please get me out of this event. Um, and just the sets that she does, like day in and day out, like I'm constantly amazed by Rose, just like grit. And yeah, no, I would hand it to Ro on this one.
You agree?
Oh, I don't know. I think um like I see other people like the 4 a.m. sets, I see them and I'm like, I don't think I could do that. But I think we work obviously we all work really hard in our own respective ways, and it's like hard to compare because they're so different. But I think yeah, it's always a debate who's training harder or whatever, but I think we know what we need and we get that out of our training and it works. So I mean, I'm not complaining about it or anything.
All right, well then I'll turn it around. So as an age grouper, I didn't mind swimming a mile, and I would vomit if I knew how to swim a two fly long course. That's probably because I could slack the mile, but you can't slack two fly. You hurt anyhow, right? And we had a guest on, Alex Shackle. Alex Shackle says, I love swimming the two fly. It's fun for me. I have so much fun racing it. And I've never heard anybody say that about the 1500. Like, oh, I love the 1500. I love the last 300 meters of it. Charlotte, do you love the two fly racing it? When you're on Nine Pain, and now oxygen for Aurora for the mile.
I do. I think,
Long
yeah.
course?
I honestly, I like it more long.
Oh my god.
No,
I have
See,
to
I was a
agree.
yards 200 flyer, not a long course 200 flyer
Yeah,
when I had to do it. There's a big difference.
no, I have to agree. Like a bad two fly can be really rough. Like if it's not, yeah, it's pretty rough when it's not coming together. But like I don't know, just when you're like in the rhythm, like and like long course for me, like I think my stroke is definitely more about like rhythm, and the walls kind of are just like get out of my way. Like, I kind of like the just like it's just four like legs in the pool, like you just are in your
you,
rhythm and you're going through it. Like,
you touch
I
the
don't know.
wall,
Yeah,
you're like, I have to do 100 again. Oh my god!
yeah,
Yeah, you look forward and you're like, wow, that's a long way. And I'm already.
But then
yeah,
I
Aurora,
yeah.
guess that's
the
why we're not
1500.
200 flyers long course, Luke.
But the 1500 Aurora, that's crazy. Like, when do you start feeling the pain in your 1500, and how do you manage to do the last 1400 of that? Because that's me after
and it's
100.
and it's how
I
she
know
does
that's
it. It's like,
14.
oh, 1,000 in, time to start sprinting. Do 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 do.
Oh yeah. I think it always like each race is so different of how it's gonna
Yeah.
feel, but I've had some races where it's like the first 200 I'm like, oh well, this is gonna be nice. But yeah, I think the way I do it can go one of two ways. I'm like, okay, yeah, like I can descend these. That's so fun. Or sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I can make the gear change that I'm supposed to be able to make right now. But I think, yeah, just trusting that you have it. I don't think I could say that I love the mile. Sorry, Sharky. I still think it's always crazy when you say you love the two fly. But I think I've been able to dread it less and less the more I've done it.
So does it feel better to run someone down in the mile or the two fly, or a similar feeling? Just like passing anyone at the end is so satisfying. Because mile, it's probably like, oh, you got like 200 worth of like reeling them in, right? Where the
Mhm.
fly, it's like, okay, they just hit the wall at the 175, and you like accelerate them because you're just not dying as bad.
Yeah. I would assume it's probably kind of similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
no, you
but
go.
I'm not sure. Well, yeah, I don't
See, I've never run anyone down, so that's why I gotta ask.
I I feel like in the two fly, it's just like you have like I feel like there's kind of two strategies that people go with, and it's like the people that are like out fast on it and like try to hang on, which is so impressive to me because that seems like a really, really painful way to swim that
Yeah,
event.
the piano gang, we'll call them that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then for me it's like I can go out that fast, but I just try to like hold one like
You
just like
can't or you won't.
ah debatable. Debatable, but I don't think it would come together like I hoped if I tried to go out on it like that. But I am working on going out on it faster. Um, but yeah, I think at that point, like when you're like catching someone, it's more just like I'm just like, okay, like stroke, stroke, like another stroke, like in my own kind of pain cave, I guess. Whereas I mean, I'm sure the mile is probably pretty similar pain cave type of thing. But yeah, no, yeah.
No, insane. Well, I have a question about training things that you guys experience, either you've seen or you've been next to in training. So again, Greg talked about a couple of thousands he witnessed Katie do, and it was just like insane what she went. I forgot what time she went. It was like 9 something or 8:50 something, whatever. It was crazy. I'm sure you've experienced that. Who is the beast in practice? Who have you like been next to, and then it's like, oh my god, I can't believe they keep doing this. Can't believe they keep doing this. Or you've seen it in practice because that's the best set I've seen anybody ever do. Charlotte, can you give an example, and then Aurora, I'm going to ask you.
Um, yeah, I would say honestly, like there's so many examples, like day to day, it just depends on the
Yeah.
practice. There's always somebody doing something amazing. It's like it's so cool to be a part of like a team that's just like everybody is so talented. Like kick sets,
Yeah.
like I dread kick sets. I am not the biggest fan of kick. But there's some girls that are so fast, like Kirsty. She's like our kick beast. All of our freshmen that came in are amazing at kick. Emily, she's always like hammering on kick sets. So them, and then Ro, like in her distance set, when we're like split up, you'll just like turn and see like some crazy splits on the board from some insane set she's doing. But yeah, I would say like day to day, there's always someone doing something pretty cool.
Aurora, you give me an example of something you saw. You saw Charlotte go 10:50s on a minute holding 20:31s. I don't know. What do you see?
Yeah, I can't I remember in the spring we were kind of more in our 100 series, like best average hundreds and like
Yeah.
different amounts and on different intervals. And I remember people like I think everyone swims that set differently. Like some people are way better at like staying more consistent. Some people are really good at like bursting out a couple really fast ones and then pretty much hanging on, but there's a little bit of a difference there.
Yeah.
I remember people would be going so fast long course, and I was like, I don't even think that's my best 100 time. Like, that's crazy. But I think in terms of training, my favorite group to train with, which I'm biased because I'm in this group, but is the two free group here
Yeah.
because everyone is so fast and you hear the paces and everyone's like nailing it on every single one. And we do like different equipment, so we put fins on for hundreds and people I'm not good with equipment, and I hear people's hundreds times with fins and paddles, and I'm like blown away. I don't know how you just did that at the end of a set.
Yeah.
But yeah,
What's a time you've heard someone get called out on with
they
the
go
gear on?
like I don't even know. It's like 47 sevens or so. That might not even be fast, but it's fast. I'm like, I don't know how you're doing that. You have to ask like Lily, I think.
Yeah.
She's so fast on her hundreds. I don't know what she goes. I don't know if you know Sharky, but usually I'm pretty far behind, so I don't really hear their times. And I'm like, oh, cool.
And
All
then,
right.
or I was gonna ask Charlotte about tuner fly training. So I miss first national cut I got was tuner fly yards, and yards was the main thing. And when I swam, you could swim the tuner fly at nationals long course if you had the yards cut. So they threw me in the tuner fly training group once in my life at a long course set, and we did like I don't even know like 150s repeat fly on short rest of me, and I got laughed by everyone of every gender, of every age group. It was horrible. So is that the hardest type of fly set for you, or is it more like going repeats at pace, or what type of fly sets come to mind that are like the hardest for you?
Um, yeah, I would say I tend to like kind of like repeats like 50s where it's like pace work on like say a minute or 110 or something like that long course. Those sets are like I wouldn't say those are probably the hardest ones. I would say it's more like when you're trying to get the like yardage repeats, like 150s or like when the 200s start coming out. There's always that like when you're transitioning into like long course training and you're like, okay, like when are they gonna hit us with like they'll start you with 50s and then at some point you'll be doing hundreds repeats and then like oh, you see like a 150 in there and you're like, "Oh no." So I would say like when it starts getting into like the longer stuff, that's definitely hard, but I think it's all hard in like a different way because obviously like there's a different expectation when it's maybe like a 150 or a 200 and you're like, "Please, like I just need to like touch the wall." versus like 50s where it's like, "Okay, like I got to go my pace" type of thing. Um but 50s can be sneaky hard when the interval gets down there. So yeah, it kind of just depends. And then the hard thing with me is like the harder stuff is like I know that I need to be doing that. Like I kind of like need a high volume of fly training. Um so I'm like, okay, like I feel like I need more like hundreds and 150s fly in my like training, but then like asking for that and then it shows up in the practice and I'm like, oh yeah, I asked for this. No,
Yep.
I need this. Here we go. Um yeah.
All right. So you guys just went public with two things, and I'm gonna ask you to go public with some more. You don't have to. You could do no comments. So Sharky, apparently, right?
Oh
That's your
yeah.
nickname. I'm gonna call some names out, and I want you to give us their nicknames, if it's okay. Sophie Duncan,
Dunk.
Lucy Bell, Aurora. You
L
answer if you can't think.
yeah.
Well, I usually call her either Lucy Bell or Magic Cat, but Magic Cat's kind of it's like just a random one. I think in like a packet, they were asked if they would rather be called like Magic Cat legally or just with a nickname. And I think she was like the only one to not choose nickname. So then of course it's her nickname. So
Okay. All right. Well, Gigi Johnson,
Jeej. Gigi.
Gigi.
Yeah.
All right. Sarasota girl, who I did a social kick with a couple of years ago. Addison.
she's just Addie. I
Addie.
don't think we I don't think a nickname stuck yet.
Do you have one, Aurora?
Yeah, they call me Ro.
Just Ro. Yeah. Simple.
Row.
Row.
Row,
Usually.
row, row.
What do you call Greg?
Greg didn't get a nickname. He's just Greg.
Yeah. Greg loves to give nicknames, but he's just Greg.
Yeah, did his nickname stick, or he's one that he throws out nicknames and everyone's like, he's the only one that calls him that.
I feel like a good amount of them stick. Yeah.
I'd say like 6 people on our team go by their, like, real legal name or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, how about the coaches? You said Greg already. How about Katie?
She's just Katie.
Okay,
Yeah, the coaches don't really have nicknames.
sounds good.
All right, so before we jump into rapid, just let's talk about the end of the season that's coming up. It's pretty big, right? You got conference meet soon. You got Cal coming up in a week, too, right? Right? You know,
Mhm.
two, and then you got
2 weeks.
ACCs in Greensboro, and then you're going to Federal Way for NCs. What what's your goal for it? Like, I mean, it doesn't have to be a place. It could be something. Like, have you guys set a goal as a team for any of those things? Beat Cal, win your first conference, and what is it? What do you think?
Yeah, I think Cal will be fun. They're always
Yeah.
super fast, so that's always a good prep before conference. And then I think with conference, it's so different every year. So,
Yeah.
I mean, especially this year with it being combined, which I think we're really excited about, feeding off of the men's energy and like being able to support them there. I think that'll be a lot of fun. And then just kind of navigating the new normal, I guess, seeing how this all flows. I mean, it's uncharted territory, so it'll be fun to see. And I think, yeah, we're gearing up to have a really good postseason. So,
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna finish up here with some rapid fire.
okay.
All right, Charlotte, what's the hardest race in swimming?
I would say 4 a.m., but I know there might be some discourse over distance events and stuff like that.
What do we think? Is there discourse, Aurora?
I think 4 AM is a solid answer.
All right,
I
Aurora,
will jump in
Olympic.
there because
Oh,
Aurora's iCloud Pentagon misses one key stroke component.
Mhm. I have no bar at all in breaststroke.
None.
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 All
None.
right, part of the
I
crew.
guess I'm winning in that, I guess.
All right. Well, Olympic gold or world record, Aurora.
Oh, probably Olympic gold.
Charlotte.
I think I would agree, probably Olympic gold.
All right. Charlotte, how many swimmers break 4:30 in the 500 at NCAAs this year?
I don't know. Ro, like what is your best time? Probably
I
Ro.
Aurora, you can steal if you want on this one.
Yeah. I'm giving
okay.
it to Ro on
Um,
that.
I would say I'd like to see 3.
3. All right. Sounds like we know what stroke we're getting rid of, but if you could get rid of one swimming stroke, what would it be? Aurora?
Yeah, I'm getting rid of breaststroke. We did a
It's already
race
out. She's
breaststroke
already
and
started it. She doesn't even
I'm
didn't even
done.
start the Pentagon.
No.
All right, Charlotte.
Breaststroke. Yeah, I would get rid of breaststroke.
Yeah.
All right, Charlotte. In what year does someone break Katie's 1650 record of 1503?
I don't know. I mean, 2028 maybe?
All right,
Wow. Yeah.
Aurora.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm hopeful, not hopeful, but I think that the like up and comers they're pretty speedy, so I think that's a good answer too.
All
You've
right.
dropped a minute, Aurora, already. So
Yeah. What's one more?
Yeah. What's
Let's just
one
do one
more?
more. Get
wait a
1430.
second.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Get out of here, minute. All right, Aurora. What's one rule in swimming you would change?
Oh, a rule. I think it might be fun to see what people would go without the 15-meter rule. I think the it would be insane. I wouldn't
Yeah.
want that personally. I would have no chance, but I think it'd be cool.
All right, Charlotte. How about you?
Yeah, that's a good one, the 15-meter one. Yeah, honestly, I think that would be super interesting, the 15-meter rule.
All right. And then Charlotte, if you could get rid of one piece of equipment for everyone, never use it again, what would it be?
Hmm. Probably like socks.
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't like socks.
Invented by
Might
a
be an agreement
counselor.
over there.
There we go.
Aurora,
I was
do
gonna
you have
say,
socks as well?
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking of resistance gear. I was like, I don't want to choose between my like assistive gear. I think yeah, I would go socks because I like sheets more than socks.
All right, there we go. What brands shoot do you like best?
We
Or have
have,
you
I
tried
think
many different ones? Yeah,
we have the are they the fit?
Venice ones.
I think so.
Yeah, I'm not sure the brand.
All right, last question here, and hopefully Greg and Katie are do us proud. How much social kick are you all doing on the Stanford team?
We do a good amount. Yeah,
Mhm.
at every warm up we get at least some amount of social kicks. So
nice.
All right, excellent.
Always would
Well,
like more.
exactly, but always can be more.
yeah.
Yeah.
Spoken like a true distance swimmer.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you two very much for joining us here. Aurora, wish you the best of luck at the new ACC conference and through NCAA. Charlotte, wish you a speedy recovery, and to Stanford women for, I think it's slam dunk, another top 10 finish here this year at NCs.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yep. And that's it for this episode of Social Kick. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Hey everyone, thanks for hanging out with us. If you enjoyed this episode of Social Kick and you'd like to see more, subscribe to the channel. And we love talking swimming and we'd love to talk about swimming with you. So leave us a comment and we'll see you next time.